You can care about someone deeply and still be wrong for each other. That's the part nobody wants to admit. So before you get even more attached, take a step back and look at how they make you think, feel, and behave. If you're wondering whether they're truly right for you, pay attention to these 7 signs, because the right person isn't simply the person you can't stop thinking about. It's not always the person who gives you the strongest chemistry, the biggest rush, or the most intense emotions. Sometimes the person who feels the most exciting isn't the person who's actually good for you, and sometimes the person who is right for you doesn't create constant drama at all. In this video, we're going to look at 7 psychological signs that can help you tell the difference between someone you're simply attached to and someone who genuinely fits your life. And don't just listen for what they do. Pay attention to who you become when you're around them. Before we get into the first sign, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose what brings peace. Sign 1. You don't have to pretend around them. One of the clearest signs someone is right for you is surprisingly simple. You can be yourself. You don't constantly feel like you have to perform. You don't rehearse every text before sending it because you're terrified of saying the wrong thing. You don't spend hours wondering whether you came across as too needy, too distant, too interested, or not interested enough. You can actually relax. And that matters more than most people realize. When you're deeply attracted to someone, it's easy to become overly focused on how they see you. You start editing yourself. You show them the version of you that you think they'll like, instead of allowing them to see who you really are. At first, that can feel harmless. But over time, it becomes exhausting. You're no longer building a relationship. You're managing an image. The right person doesn't require you to constantly calculate your behavior. That doesn't mean you'll never feel nervous around them. Of course you might. Attraction can make anyone nervous. The difference is what happens after that initial excitement. Do you eventually feel safe enough to speak honestly? Can you admit when you're having a bad day? Can you disagree without feeling like the entire relationship is suddenly at risk? Can you tell them what you actually think without worrying that one honest sentence will make them disappear? That's important, because genuine compatibility gives you room to be human. You don't have to be impressive every second. You don't have to be perfectly confident. You don't have to hide every insecurity. You can simply exist. And if someone only likes you when you're entertaining, confident, agreeable, or convenient, pay attention. That may be attraction, but it isn't necessarily compatibility. Sign 2. They make your life more stable, not more confusing. We sometimes mistake emotional intensity for connection. Someone is hot and cold. They disappear. Then they come back. One day they're completely into you, and the next day they act distant. You spend the entire night wondering what changed. Then they send one message, and suddenly you feel amazing again. That emotional roller coaster can become incredibly addictive. Why? Because unpredictable rewards can make people pay even more attention. When you never know when affection, attention, or reassurance is coming, every little sign feels more important. That can create a powerful attachment. But powerful attachment doesn't automatically mean healthy connection. The person who is right for you usually doesn't leave you constantly trying to decode them. You know where you stand. Their words and actions generally match. If they care, you can see it. If something is wrong, they can talk about it. If they need space, they can say so instead of disappearing just to make you chase them. That kind of consistency might feel less dramatic. But less drama doesn't mean less love. Sometimes it means more emotional maturity. Ask yourself a simple question. Does being connected to this person make my life clearer or more confusing? Because the right person shouldn't require you to become a detective just to understand where you stand. Sign 3. They respect your boundaries without punishing you. This is one of the biggest signs people overlook. A person can be loving, attractive, funny, and incredibly charming, and still be wrong for you if they don't respect your boundaries. A boundary is not a punishment, it's not a threat. It's simply a limit that tells another person what you are and are not comfortable with. Maybe you need time alone. Maybe you don't want to answer your phone late at night. Maybe there are certain things you won't tolerate in a relationship. The real test is what happens when you say no. Someone who is right for you may not always agree with your boundary, but they can respect it. Someone who is wrong for you may try to make you feel guilty for having one. They might say you've changed. They might accuse you of not caring. They might suddenly become cold because you didn't give them what they wanted. That tells you something. Healthy connection allows two people to remain separate individuals. You should be able to have friends, your own interests, your own goals, your own time, and your own opinions. Love shouldn't require you to surrender your identity. In fact, the right relationship should give you more freedom to become yourself, not less. So don't just watch how someone treats you when everything is going their way. Watch how they respond when you tell them no. That's where character often becomes visible. Sign 4. They challenge you without trying to control you. The right person won't always agree with you, and that's a good thing. If someone agrees with everything you say just to keep you happy, you may feel comfortable, but you're not necessarily growing. A strong relationship needs honesty. Sometimes the person who is right for you will tell you something you don't want to hear. They might point out a mistake. They might question one of your decisions. They might encourage you to stop making excuses. But there's a huge difference between challenging someone and controlling them. A healthy challenge sounds like, "I think you're capable of more." Control sounds like, "You need to do what I say." One respects your ability to choose. The other tries to take that ability away. The right person doesn't want to build a smaller version of you that is easier to manage. They want to see you become stronger. That means they can support your ambition without competing with it. They can disagree without humiliating you. They can give you honest feedback without making you feel worthless. And you should be able to do the same for them. Because real compatibility isn't about finding someone who never challenges you. It's about finding someone whose presence makes you want to become better without making you feel like you're never good enough. That distinction matters. Sign 5. Conflict doesn't destroy the connection. You can learn a lot about someone during the good moments, but you learn even more when things go wrong. Every relationship will have disagreements. Two people can love each other and still misunderstand each other. They can get frustrated. They can have different expectations. They can say something the other person doesn't like. The question isn't whether conflict exists. The question is, what happens after conflict begins? Do they try to understand you? Can they admit when they're wrong? Can they apologize without adding a dozen excuses? Can you both calm down and come back to the conversation? Or does every disagreement become a battle for control? Some people don't want resolution, they want victory. They bring up old mistakes. They use personal information against you. They give you the silent treatment to punish you. They threaten to leave every time they don't get their way. That kind of conflict slowly destroys emotional safety. The right person understands that you and them are on the same side, even when you disagree. That doesn't mean every argument ends perfectly. It means there is an underlying willingness to repair, and repair is one of the most important parts of any lasting relationship. So don't judge someone only by how they love you when everything is easy. Watch how they handle disappointment. Watch how they handle anger. Watch how they handle being wrong. That's where you start seeing the person underneath the charm. Sign 6. You like who you are when you're with them. Forget how attractive they are for a moment. Forget how much attention they give you. Forget how badly you want them to choose you. Ask yourself, who am I becoming around this person? Do you feel more confident, more patient, more focused, more honest? Do you take better care of yourself? Do you feel encouraged to pursue your goals, or are you becoming anxious, jealous, suspicious, insecure, and emotionally exhausted? Because sometimes the biggest warning sign isn't what they're doing, it's what the relationship is doing to you. You could meet someone who is incredibly attractive and still become a version of yourself you don't recognize. Maybe you stop trusting your instincts. Maybe you constantly check your phone. Maybe you start accepting behavior you once said you would never tolerate. Maybe you spend so much energy trying to keep the relationship alive that you forget to live your own life. That's worth noticing. The right person won't magically solve all your problems. They won't make you confident every single day. But over time, a healthy connection should allow you to remain grounded. You should still recognize yourself. Your values should still matter. Your goals should still matter. Your peace should still matter. And if being with someone requires you to abandon all three, attraction alone isn't enough. Sign 7. You don't have to chase their love. You don't feel like you have to constantly earn their interest. There's a difference between putting effort into a relationship and chasing someone who keeps moving the finish line. In a healthy connection, effort goes both ways. You reach out, they reach out. You make plans, they make plans. You listen, they listen. You show up, they show up. It doesn't have to be perfectly equal every single day. Real life doesn't work that way. Sometimes one person needs more support. Sometimes one person is dealing with stress. Sometimes you have to carry more for a while. That's normal. But over time there should be reciprocity. You shouldn't constantly wonder, do they even want me? Why am I always the one trying? Why do I have to prove my value? Because when you constantly chase reassurance, you can start confusing anxiety with love. You become obsessed with getting the next sign that they still care, and the relationship starts controlling your emotional state. The right person doesn't make you beg for basic consideration. They don't make you compete for their attention every day. They don't keep you trapped in a permanent audition. They choose you through their actions, and that doesn't mean they'll be perfect. It means you can actually feel the mutual effort. That's the difference. So, are they actually right for you? Don't answer that question based only on how strongly you feel about them. Strong feelings can come from attraction. They can come from loneliness. They can come from uncertainty. They can even come from the fear of losing someone. Instead, look at the bigger picture. Can you be yourself around them? Does the relationship bring stability instead of constant confusion? Do they respect your boundaries? Do they challenge you without trying to control you? Can you handle conflict without destroying each other? Do you like the person you become around them? And finally, is the effort mutual? Those questions tell you much more than chemistry alone, because the person who is right for you isn't necessarily the person who makes your heart race the fastest. Sometimes they're the person who lets you breathe, the person who respects your mind, the person who makes honesty feel safe, the person who can disagree with you without trying to destroy you, the person who doesn't need to control you to feel secure, and the person who makes you realize that love doesn't have to cost you your peace. Don't choose someone only because you're afraid of losing them. Choose based on what the relationship actually brings into your life. Because anyone can create chemistry, anyone can create excitement, anyone can make you feel wanted for a moment, but character shows up over time. Consistency shows up when the excitement fades. Respect shows up when you say no, and compatibility shows up in the person you become when you're with them. So before you ask, how badly do I want this person? Ask something deeper. Is this relationship helping me become the person I want to be? If the answer is yes, pay attention. If the answer is no, don't ignore it just because the feelings are strong. Sometimes the hardest truth is also the most freeing one. You can love someone and still realize they aren't right for your life, and walking away from what isn't right isn't failure. Sometimes it's self-respect.